We've all heard the saying, you don't know what you're missing until it's gone. For more than a decade, the Vlandian Empire was kept afloat and dominant in western Calradia by the war prowess of Baron York and the knights of his house. He was literally at the tip of the spear of Vlandian expansion, but all of that changed in early 1111. The Baron had blatantly abandoned the king to capture and death at the hands of the heathen Viking invaders, and the Vlandian Council had exiled the Baron and placed him outside of the protection of the law. This old custom meant that any person, even those without noble birth, could legally capture and even kill the Baron without fear of legal reprisals. Today, we know this as being an outlaw. Having made their decision, the powerful and now united noble families of Vlandia now planned the ultimate downfall of the Baron, and hedged him in with a ring of spies, assassins, and their armed retainers. It was agreed that as soon as he was captured, he would be placed in a gibbet and left to rot outside Ox Hall, like they would have done back then with any murderer or common criminal. But the Baron was no common criminal, and the lords of Calradia learned this the hard way. On the day after the Baron was declared an outlaw, a series of violent murders shook the Vlandian Empire to its core. Not only the extreme violence and precision of these assassinations, but also because it was reported that the Baron himself had dealt the fatal blows, despite some of the Vlandian lords living hundreds of miles apart. How could the most wanted man escape his castle under heavy watch, travel hundreds of miles, and evade maximum security to assassinate the most protected and watchful nobles in the realm? How could he have known where these nobles would have even been that day? As the blood and bodies of the slain was washed from the Vlandian stone, all the realm shook with fear and confusion, as the looming tyranny of the most wanted and feared man in the lands permeated every household. Let's jump into this battle, and I think I'm going to fight these, right? We just don't want to have a huge amount of casualties for battles like this every single time. We can probably get reinforcements too. Actually, you know what? Let's start an episode here. We got to start an episode at some point. This seems likely to be interesting, and you know, now you guys know that the Baron has capabilities. He has the ability to kill his foe, right? Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. We continue on with this epic Aserai campaign. We're going to continue to weave and cultivate a really interesting story to keep this campaign lively. You know it's going to be difficult, right? We've got all these foes now encroaching on us, but there's a few less foes, right? They got assassinated, or Earnhardt or whatever. Well, you get the idea. The cutscene pretty much said enough, right? The Baron got his revenge on several of the key Vlandian nobles. He's still obviously hunted. And of course, reputation has suffered here. So I'm actually trying to rescue one of these, I think it's Northern Empire. There's a clan out here, and they're under assault by raiders. There's tons of bandits around here. We're sort of trying to clear out this little corner of the map of all these bandits because they're attacking villagers as well. So multiple purposes here, mostly just to get rid of these raiders, right? These raiders are killing our villagers. I just saw him capture a guy. It made me mad. Then I saw him attacking this guy, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we can develop some friends here, right? The Baron has enemies. Now we got to get him some friends, right? We've got to figure some way to negotiate with some of the agents of Calradia here to have them help us help the Baron in these exploits. Of course, we'll continue to add companions. We are going to add player clans at some point or other, right? We're our own kingdom now, right? The Baron has the luxury of now adding player clans. Of course, I've mentioned it before, the Patreon supporters are going to have priority when it comes to having their name and characters be clan leaders. We'll see how it develops too, right? It's going to be difficult. I got 10 requests immediately. I got 3 emails. I'm doing the best I can here, of course. But if you really want to see a companion or a clan in the game, right, support us on Patreon, jump on in there, even a small contribution, and we'll see what we can do here. There's going to be multiple clans, right? We're not going to have like one clan, and obviously the Baron has his companions as well. So if you have some ideas, jump on in. I've got some ideas of my own as well, and no promises, right? We've got to do the best we can here to try to balance things as well. We're not going to have like unlimited companions using a mod, trying to keep things difficult and somewhat realistic. All right, so believe it or not, we're starting this episode by fighting 580 or something like that Sea Raiders, and they're pouring in here, and these guys are no joke, right? It's Sea Raider chiefs. There's Lake Rat Wreckers in here. Now, there are some looters. I see some looters mixed in here, some Sea Raider warriors, which are their middle tier, but I anticipate reinforcements. This is just part of the campaign now. I've gotten used to the reinforcement system. It's highly active. It's highly dynamic. It makes this campaign feel alive. Every battle is potentially chaotic. We're helping this clan here because I'm trying to increase relations with at least some people in Calradia, hoping that they will be willing to allow Baron York to be their suzerain. And we'll see. We might have to make all our own. I'm not sure anybody's going to like the Baron after he's been executing people and causing carnage. There will be more death, of course. But let's steamroll these raiders here, right? I don't see any reinforcements coming, so we'll try to make this short and sweet. Double hammer and anvil here with the 2nd and 8th Corps. The raiders get slammed against our infantry, and the shock troops coming behind. We'll call that hammer and anvil with some shock and awe hammer and anvil right there, right? They're getting blasted by cavalry, and behind him comes our Volgiers. Baron York has the army he wants. Now, we're using crossbow, right? We're almost never going to have no crossbow, partly because, of course, your companions do what they want. And here we go, right? And the nebulous nature of the reinforcement system is at work here. Sea Raiders join the battle as an enemy. I don't know if that's going to be 100 or 900. There are Sea Raider armies over 500 in this episode or in this campaign. I don't know about this episode. We'll see. They're out there. There's armies of 1,000 looters, too. So even though these are weaker troops, I like this element because it's both chaotic. There's almost like an extra faction of bandits rampaging through Calradia. They're not really going to interfere too much in regular battles, but they will definitely capture nobles. Like I said, they took villagers. They captured a bunch of villagers. This looks like a small amount. But we'll see. There could be more. And it's going to make the campaign feel alive. It's going to make it feel chaotic. And I like that element. Right now, we're going to recruit some bandits, too, right? The Baron is limiting himself to Vlandian troops, but if you can't tell yet, Baron York is a thug gangster motherfucker. This guy's all about assassination, skullduggery, some other horrific shit, extortion. Yeah, you do not want to be on the Baron's bad side. This guy is... Oh, shit. Here we go. Mountain bandits joining, and buckle up here. I just don't know what's going to happen here. Some parts of Calradia right now have 10, 12, 15 different bands of bandits of all sorts of diversity, too. Sea Raiders, there's, of course, forest bandits, there's the mountain bandits, there's looters, there's mounted pillagers, and oh shit, they've got a bunch of cavalry, and this is a bunch. Even though half of them are naked, that's a lot of troops. You just don't know. This is fucking amazing. It's like a bandit army is attacking us here. And I love it. I think it's great. Now, of course, the campaign is not gonna divert into a war against bandits, but these are going to sort of freshen the content and keep it lively. Look at this shit. There's a bunch of tier 4 and 5. I think these are either tier 4 or 5 cavalry throwing javelins into our flank while hordes of guys with scimitars run up. We're not probably at risk of losing, but you never know, right? I better not say that until this battle's over. There's hundreds on the screen right now. And eventually we'll run out of ammo here, right? We could definitely get in a situation where we just get worn down by just heaps and heaps of bandits. So fighting for our lives here. And of course it's important for us to be efficient here. It's not like the Baron has 5 cities and 3 castles with 1,200 troops. And we've got a lot of money still. The Baron has like 1 million, I think over 1 million, something like that. But we need troops badly. And this is going to cost some, right? Even if it only costs 50 or 100. So, an interesting way to start this episode here. You guys, of course, hopefully you love that. Oh shit, even more coming in. And I love that, right? Your money or your life. It should be your money and your life. Now, I swear that just said House of Baron reinforcements. I don't know who would reinforce us. This looks like a smaller wave here. I'm going to continue to try to delete the little power bar up top there, just to keep things a little bit unknown for you guys. But most of you guys have a feel that unless there's a lot more here, we're steamrolling these bandits. But for sure, these guys are going to have an impact in the campaign, especially on certain circumstances, right? When we're injured after a big fight, if you get captured, right? These guys are a major threat when you try to escape. But I'm also, I'm leery of being captured at this stage, right? The Baron's reputation is bad with all his raiding and murdering. There's a real chance that the Baron will get executed if I get captured in this campaign. So, we've got all of these minefields to navigate here. And it's going to be really interesting for you guys, right? To watch me and the Baron, and of course all the companions, you fellas that are riding along with us here, sort of try to navigate just a very gnarly campaign. Just about every single element of difficulty thrown in here. Now, I'm going to start to highlight some of these neutral clans because we got to try to convince somebody out there to join us. It's like, please help us here. The Sturgeons are pouring in. Now, the Baron, from a role-playing perspective, is playing hard to get. These nobles are like, so you want our help? And he's like, I don't know, man. You kind of look like a weak bitch. We're only interested in tough warriors, right? You guys don't actually want money to join us, right? He's like all tyrants. He's projecting power, especially when he's weak, right? So the Baron is sort of pretending that he's strong. He's going to fake it till he makes it because, of course, in a dog-eat-dog world like this, and the medieval universe definitely was a dog-eat-dog world, you got to look strong. Appearances of strength, they're just as important as actual strength. So, let's see if this guy wants to join us here. Sometimes they're very eager to. Let's see here. No, we're not about to marry off anybody to your family. Fuck off. I don't see anything here. Farewell then. I just saved your ass, dude. We got positive relation with this guy, and you guys may be able to help me here a little bit. Sometimes it seems random. Sometimes they're like, nah, I'm not joining. He's in charge of his clan, and he won't join. So let's try to negotiate with him another way here, right? How about we capture your punk ass? Hey, we get a bunch of troops. That was already profitable. Baron York is... See, that's not going to encourage good behavior from the Baron, right? He just betrays the guy and captures him, and we benefit, right? It's feeding our dopamine and saying, do that more. Now this bitch is... Where's he at? He's in one of our groups, right? No, the Baron doesn't have him here. And maybe we'll execute some of these fucks if they don't join us, right? We're gonna... Somehow, we're gonna play hard to get, or we're gonna play hard or something here until one of these bitch-ass clans join us. And of course, we're definitely gonna have to make clans as well. Now, where's this guy? Nobody has him? Here he is. Let's convince him now, right? Now he's a prisoner. Circumstances have changed, Mirren. Would you like to join us now? Right? You can get medieval on these guys here. Our relation's negative now, but it didn't seem to matter even when it was positive. So maybe this guy's just a bitch. He's holding his arm like it hurts. I don't know. Maybe we don't want weak bitches in our army. How about if we commit peace? Let's try... he needs money, evidently, for peace. He looks like a grubby fucker. He wants 100,000. You fucking little grubby extortioner. Wait a minute. Oh, shit, he's freed. Damn it. You see, even the shrewd and the suspicious get scammed. The Baron just got scammed. Of course, I didn't know what was going to happen for sure. I guess I should have realized if you give him peace, he's just going to take off. Well, we're going to figure it out one way or another. And, of course, you guys get to watch some of my occasional ineptitude at Bannerlord. It's a complex game. There's all sorts of different factions and peace and this and that. I've played a lot of Bannerlord, and sometimes there's some parts of the game that they're a little bit mystical. You can't really figure them out. You just sort of stagger into them. I've had clans instantly join us in campaigns, for very little money, and then I've had other campaigns where nobody will join you, right? Now, of course, a lot of it has to do with relation. A lot of it has to do with your charm skill, things like that. Well, the Baron doesn't have much of either, right? He's a bald, crusty old guy with halitosis. and a bad temper. This guy's dyspeptic. You can use some other adjectives. We'll send you guys to the thesaurus in the dictionary tonight. He's a dyspeptic, canting, conniving, scheming, just absolutely despisable character here, and I fucking love playing him, right? I'm a generally pretty good person. In fact, I've never been arrested. I've never really done anything bad in my whole life. I've masturbated before. I stole stuff when I was a kid. I stole from a store when I was like 7, but I pay my taxes. I help little old ladies get groceries into their car and shit like that. So it's fun to play a mass murdering extortionist tyrant. I mean, that's part of the reason we play video games, right? So that we can experience the part of life and we don't really want to experience in real life because there are consequences. Now, I'm actually going to do this quest because I have too many troops, and this is a good way to sort of teleport troops, right? You do this quest and we can give him a bunch of low-level troops. he's willing to take bandits, a bunch of hillmen. We can, sorry there, garrison. We got to send you off here with some bandits to do this quest. We're going to do a few of these because we need these villages to give us as many troops as possible. And I should mention that, right? We are to the stage of the campaign where, well, I was going to say where things are going to slow down a little bit. I've got to recruit troops. I've got to, you know, we're going to have to do a few side quests here. We're going to have to seek out nobles that might join us. Chenon, I'll keep that name in mind here. But Ormenfard is under siege. Let's take a look at that, right? So this campaign, I want to say it's going to slow down. What you're going to see more of the action from this stage. Of course, we've been fast forwarding. We've been sort of doing half-ass foreplay to get to the sex part here, and hopefully this campaign is about to take off to another level. I've got a drink tonight, but we're doing this responsibly. Let's look at Ormenford Castle here, but if this is the Sturgeons, I got an idea. We'll do a little siege race here. I think it is the Sturgeons. In fact, I saw Knut. So we could attack them there, but I think it actually... Uh-oh, shit. Well, that's a problem. The Aserai are to our south, and they have a huge, powerful army. That's not good, right? I'll talk about the diplomatic situation in a second. There are 2 large Sturgeon forces there. So you know what we're going to do here? We're going to do a trade. This is the chess trade, right? Where you give up your bishop and take a rook. I think it's better for us to have Rovalt here than Ormenfard. And I think there's a small chance we can take Rovalt before they can siege Ormenfard. And then race over there and maybe, just maybe, we can defend it. Now, a couple things. There's more armies coming. Keeping an eye on the south. This is good. Monchug's at war, at least with the Aserai. So the Aserai won't have us as their sole target. There's Vlandian forces. There's bandits. There's heaps of Sturgeons. The Aserai are mustering a huge force. I've said it before, friends. Buckle up, right? In fact, there's 800 defenders here. And I'll remind you, we're at war with both the Sturgeons and the Vlandians. So even though it looks like we're going to be able to starve a lot of that garrison, and I am going to blow up their siege at least, there's a chance for reinforcements here, right? There's going to be fucks nearby here. This campaign is going to be really gnarly. Now, hopefully it's not too redundant, but I don't want to skip parts right here at this stage of the campaign, right? I probably will do some time warps and probably some editing to save you selling trinkets and shit like that at the market. But there's going to be war, there's going to be carnage, and in the early stage of a campaign is one of the most difficult, and especially with this difficulty level here. I better drink more so I can speak less quickly. You know, there's a real chance that in this siege assault, the Vlandians and or the Sturgeons attack us, right? Both of them conceivably. Now let's talk diplomacy here, because there are going to be some contrived elements of this campaign. There will never be peace in this campaign against the Vlandians. I think that goes without saying. Even though the system will let us have peace, I think, even though the Baron has executed, assassinated Vlandian targets, you know, of course, from the role-playing perspective, there will be no peace with Vlandia in this campaign, ever, right? Doesn't matter what happens. We won't take any of their nobles also into our kingdom, right? The Baron is eternally hated by them. The Sturgeons, maybe. Maybe we'll have peace with the Sturgeons. The Aserai, maybe, right? Those other kingdoms, I will say maybe, but understand that the Vlandians will never have peace, right? I don't intend on having peace early on because, again, the Baron is trying to project power, especially when he's weak. He's not about to go beg the Sturgeons for peace. Now, if they want to send, and I did this with the Aserai campaign, if they want to send the Baron a nice, juicy peace offer and pay us money, the Baron is all about that, right? Despots and people in charge of kingdoms, I'm not speaking about anybody in particular right now. You guys can guess. But people who are in charge, who want to appear smart and tough, they want other people. The optics of it is critical for other people basically to come up to them and say, yeah, we want peace, we want this, we want that. That's just an age-old thing, right? You want to negotiate from a position of power, and the Baron is going to try to beat these sturgeons into submission. So just that little, you know, from the I guess we'll call that the contrived part of this campaign. I could get peace probably with the Vlandians right now, right? We're beating the shit out of them. We're taking their cities. We're smashing their nobles. We could probably have peace when we want. Now, I'm trying to get daylight here. If you're wondering why I didn't attack there, it was the middle of the night. We had the right setup here, but I am in a hurry because Ormondfard is down, and so the sturgeons may be heading our way. And I didn't mention it, but Oxhall is under siege also. Now, Oxhall has 700 defenders, so we should be able to siege this and then head there. But first things first, right? Now, some people would say auto-resolve this first. The auto-resolve incredibly favors the attacker, right? So if you auto-resolve here, we might lose. We only have like 700-something attackers. They have, 300 defenders. Second, some of these battles here are likely to have reinforcements. In fact, I will be surprised if there's not reinforcements here. I see Sturgeon and Vlandian forces right outside our city. Right before I started this, I see armies running around. There's a very decent chance that they join. Again, part of the way the AI figures it is they look at the battle and they look at the power bar. Well, in a siege, the power bar favors the defender. So you're much more likely to get guys attacking you from behind you while you're sieging. And I actually think that's a great element, right? It's going to increase the stress of even sort of rudimentary sieges like this. It's going to make them interesting. And of course, if it's really boring in the future, I may skip it. But because we just formed our kingdom, the Baron is just sort of feeling his oats here. We are going to prepare for the end of the world in every single battle here, right? Until we gain a little margin of error here, we're gonna definitely prep for the worst, right? Kill that Fiend Champ. There's a Fiend Champ just up there standing in plain sight. Kill that. They get him? It looks like it. All I see is his bearskin cloak all piled up. All right, so we will speed through these, right? We've got 700-something attackers. You can see the power bar. Actually, you can't, right? Because I'm just going to delete that. Now, sometimes I forget. I'll actually say it in the comments and forget. Some guys reminded me I forgot once or twice. That shit happens. We're doing our best here to keep the suspense high. And these, I would say, how a store, and maybe you've never heard of this before, but a store has a lost leader item. A lost leader item is basically something they put on sale to get you in the door so that you'll buy other shit where they make a higher margin. I gotta be honest, I think these campaign videos, especially with all the editing, are lost leader items for our channel. Some of them get, 10, 20, 30,000 views, but most of these campaign episodes, as this is the nature with playthroughs, by the way, tend to get 2,000, 4,000 views. And on a time basis, I make a lot more money, and it's literally cents and dollars, with episodes like the Disasters of War or the Epic Siege series. Some of those will make 10 times the views in what I consider is much worse material, or at least from an effort perspective, there's a lot less effort, right? An Epic Siege can take me 2-3 hours with editing. One of these episodes can take 5-6 hours, right? With cutscenes, with all the different shit that goes on behind the scenes, changing companion names to supporters of Patreon, etc., making the thumbnails, etc. Even just, writing out the storyline. Believe it or not, I do have a storyline written out for this campaign, right? And of course, it's been a moving storyline. The target keeps moving. But that's okay, right? Maybe someday these will be a lot more popular, maybe with the DLC. But that said, in the short term, you guys can help, right? And one of the ways that I wouldn't mind you guys helping, in fact, I'm sort of asking you to help, is spread the word, especially at places like Reddit, when guys are like, hey, is there a good playthrough to watch? I think guys will really enjoy these if the word sort of gets out. In other words, I feel like a fledgling restaurant owner who's got some really tasty garlic fries, and I'm hoping you guys will spread the word, right? That the stuff we're serving up here is good stuff, right? I'm not demanding it, of course, but if you guys don't mind helping me when you have a chance or whatever, however you guys can sort of spread the word, I'd appreciate that. And it looks like, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because it's always interesting to see what will happen. Nothing's going to happen in this siege other than me begging begging you guys for more help. You guys are like, shut the fuck up and just make videos already. But that's all right. You know, it's still, this is good. We get a city. Is that Banner of Vlandia? Those are our, oh shit, I was thinking for a second, we're Vlandia. Okay, so never mind, right? Let's see what's coming in here. It says more enemies are approaching. That's good, right? So you never know. How do you get down these ladders? Well, that's one way. You can just crater into the earth. All right, let's start setting up defenses here. I will fulfill my duty. That's more enemies. All right, here we go. Right, you just never know how it's going to go. Better late than never, right? And of course, it's worse for the enemy because we're much more prepared for it. Our troops aren't all strung out all over the place. But these are definitely not our cavalry, right? They're pouring in here with cavalry. We've got 4 infantry divisions. 3 of them are pretty good shape still. So let's start moving this information. Oh shit, it's a lot of troops. And I see blue. Blue. So that's Sturgia, right? It's got to be Sturgia. I'm really confused right now. This fucking guy, get off of me. Oh, fuck you, riding on my coattails? Fucking punk motherfucker, you're a dead man. Fucking insult the Baron. Alright, we got this infantry. Let's get these guys up here in a square. They have tons of infantry. This is a lot of troops. Shit. And they look like our troops. Because, of course, they're red. The Vlandians are coming in here. So we may turn up the little light there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Hopefully, you guys, of course, can feel free to leave feedback. You can certainly see in the blue. And this is what I was worried about. This is indeed both Sturgia and the Vlandians attacking at the same time. How gnarly is this? And it's another chaotic scene here. We got fucking chaos. Horses are crashing into our archer lines. There's cavalrymen slamming into the defenses. This is beautiful. There's a huge amount of infantry and archers coming to that ridge. Now I'm developing a flanking division on the enemy's right flank, our left flank. We're going to bore in there once this line has sort of gathered attention, which seems like it has. That 3rd division with an archer division can start to really pinch in on the enemy. And we've got good positioning for most of our archers. Most of our archers are up top there, just pounding the enemy. The enemy has a real hard-on for me in this battle. Fuck you guys, man. We're going to draw and quarter some Banner Knights at the end of this battle. That's more enemy troops. They're pouring in here. God, imagine if we lose and Baron gets executed in like his first week as the kingdom leader. By the way, if that happens, of course, his wife can't take over, right? The campaign will continue. The Baron doesn't have any children that are of age that are with him. The Baron has 2 children that are still with the family, so to speak. If you wondered about that aspect, he has like a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. Of course, it'll be some time before they're impactful in this campaign. Okay, we're holding that line beautifully, but I want to start forming squares here. We've got way more archers alive at this stage than infantry, so let's use our infantry defensively instead of boring over the hill against those enemy archers. We could do squares with the huge 5th, 7th, and 8th division back here. The 8th has a little bit of infantry. That's kind of our elite division, although most of our troops are, if they're not elite, they're good. Rovalt, reinforcements. We don't have any reinforcements. All our forces are here. Who the fuck are they talking about? We need them, though. Whoever it is, reinforcements, we'll take it. I'm not sure what that even means, but we'll fucking take all the help we can get here. It's carnage. The enemy's still pouring in. There's squares everywhere. My hands are sweating. It's an absolutely beautiful scene. Again, this reinforcement system. What gold is this, right? All the different mods, of course, that we're using in conjunction here. The battles. Look at how many troops are here, right? There's hordes of troops. Now, this 8th Corps is ready to rip. They just told me we want to play. Put us in, Baron. Maybe I shouldn't have jumped into the wooden spikes, but it's a video game. So this 8th Corps can take a hard left flank here and come over this ridge and just bore into the enemy. They seem to be petering out here, the enemy forces. But there are other forces coming up. Those are... What the hell is that? I don't even know what that is, but they got a little white thing above their head. I see Vlandian units with the white thing. So we got some chaos at the end of this battle here, and it looks like the enemy's fleeing. They're all, just like that guy, they can take a ride out of here. Headshot. I love that shit. He goes flying. Who are you guys? And how perfect is this, right? The Baron is searching for friends. Evidently, he's found some friends. I don't know who they are. But welcome to the show here, fellas. We're super stoked to have you guys. I want to give these guys a hug. I don't know who they are, but we'll take them. This is fantastic. These guys are doing the fandango here. This battle's over, right? Yeah, okay. It's over. So, I don't know who these guys are, but we're going to give them a hug after battle. Maybe we'll give them this fief. We got to figure out who this is here. We killed a noble. Of course, add that into all the chaos. The Death for All mod is cranked. So Comet Royal and all you other supporters, I can't promise you your companions won't get killed. Elta. No, that's our gal. Who is this? Entho. Who is Entho? I don't know who this is, but we're going to shake his hand after this battle. I don't know if we needed his help, but we'll take it, right? And what do we got going on here? Here he is. Rovalt's Rebels. So the rebels of this city, if you didn't see it, this town rebelled against the Sturgeons, or I guess we'll call them the Vikings, the Nords, I want to say a month ago of game time, and the Sturgeons took it back. Evidently, these rebels, I don't know, they don't get the city. We get the city. I mean, that would be incredibly alarming if they got the city here. In fact, Baron York would instantly siege and then begin the beheadings, right? He would make a pile of rebel heads if that were the case. But I think we get the city, and we have friends, basically. I guess it's because they rebelled against the Sturgeons. They're none too friendly to Sturgia. How cool is that? What a cool element, right? Baron York finds friends in places he least expected. It makes me think of that line in Lord of the Rings. Frodo, I think it's Elrond, says you will find friends in places unexpected. Wow, that was certainly one of them right there. And I'm stoked. I look down, it's recording. Right now, I've got some business to take care of here. I noticed this guy before. He looks like Dirt, right? So we're going to make an example out of this guy here. All the rest of you nobles, you guys can go in chains. You guys are worth some money to us here. But this other guy's worth some prestige in the form of fear, right? The Baron is definitively going to rule by fear in this campaign. Who's got this guy? Okay, I think we have him, right? Okay. So I'm going to gather up these troops here. We're going to do a little bit of editing, but before we do that, of course, you guys are here for blood. Presumably, at least some of you guys are here for blood. We've got this guy in our army, I think. Yeah, here he is. And goodbye, Thunder, you Durthert lookalike. Before we put some troops in the city here, we're going to rule by fear, just so that the citizens understand what kind of a governor, is moving in here. Now we're going to do a little bit of garrison work here. I'll probably do a little bit of editing here just to save you some of this monotony. You hardly ever see gear like that, and of course it's not usual, and it's not a bug, it's not a hack. You know what happened here? This is all our gear, our former gear that was in the armory. The Sturgeons sacked our city, took all our shit, and then they sold it all on the open market here. So this is like when you find something that somebody stole on Craigslist, and you're like, give me that shit back, that's mine. I want to go up to these merchants of the city here at Rovalt and be like, give me all this armor. Show me your serial numbers. You guys don't own this shit. Now, eventually we'll buy some of this because it is really elite gear. I mean, there's all kinds of tier 5 and 6 weapons in here. It's kind of nice because we have a lot of money, but it is kind of an ironic part here, right? These little tiny shopkeepers that theoretically you're in charge of, they just tell you, nah, this is our stuff. Now you got to buy it from us. Now, I don't think we can recruit this guy, but I'm going to do everything I can here. The Baron, like we said, we are direly searching for friends. This guy actually would fit right into the clan here. So let's see what we can do here. I might even steal that guy's head of hair, that look, for a clan leader or something like that. Some guys are writing, on the Patreon. They're like, hey, I would love to have a clan leader named so-and-so with long, flowing blonde hair and shit like that. We'll see. The Baron likes his evil-looking characters. We're going to try to comply with requests when people put, I want such and such character. But don't forget, this is essentially an evil campaign. On some level, the Baron has conquered and cornered the market on the villain arc. Now, the Sturgeons took Ormondfard, so that's a concern, right? The Sturgeons are probably next. We've got to deal with Oxhall, though, right? Oxhall is our main city. That's where we have all our actual loot right now. We've got a huge amount of food also that we stored at Oxhall. Of course, we had to buy it on the market at Rovalt. If you've been watching the whole campaign, it's not the first time we've lost our capital. But we're going to defend it here. We're going to gather troops all along the way, right? And you're just going to see me doing this process here. And we will try to mix some stuff in, right, in these episodes here. I actually am approaching the release of my first sponsor, so to speak. We are going to do a very low-key sponsor at one point or another during one of these episodes, but I've been really discriminating with my sponsor projects and concepts, and essentially keeping it out of the episodes entirely to this stage. Now, the only reason I'm willing to include this sponsor in some of the future episodes, and it'll be 30-second, 60-second little blips within the campaign, is that I think it's really important, right? A lot of these sponsors, there's such and such game I've never heard of before, or such and such product that I don't actually care about. This is different because I can get behind you guys getting financially astute, getting ahead in the financial world, and learning about all the different rules and laws of taxes and things like compounding interest and all kinds of the financial things that are sort of opaque to citizens unless they get educated. So that's coming down the pipe. But first things first here. In fact, I don't think we're ready to fight here. We've got injured. They're beating on our city, but this is a situation where if you wait, you get stronger, and the fight gets easier in two different ways here. And this is a lot of Vlandians, and I'm concerned again about reinforcements. Could get sturgeons engage here. We might even get crushed by a huge sturgeon force. So worried about Rovalt. Of course, it could get lit up with siege any minute now. But we're going to fight now. Now that we've healed a little bit and they've gotten beat up a little bit by the garrison, I think now we can make the attempt here. We still might lose this, though. Look at that power bar. And this is not a normal campaign where you can just say, well, you're tactical enlightenment. You guys are rolling over stuff on the channel. You got tactics. The enemy has nasty troops in this campaign. The lords are high level. This is just a whole different animal. And so I don't want to take anything for granted here early in this campaign. And again, the aforementioned reinforcements. The likelihood of reinforcements in a battle like this is significant. Now, I like that wall over there on the right. I'm going to use that for two different purposes. We're going to get archers elevated on it, and we're also going to use it to crash down on enemy infantry in the center of the battlefield here. The other thing we're going to do is I'm going to screen our archers on that ridge. They'll have both protection from the landscape and be shooting down over troops into the enemy ranks. That's going to be nasty. I'm trying to think of how to do this. We don't really have good cavalry commanders, right? I need someone on Patreon to say, I want to be a cavalry commander in your army, because we don't have that, right? That's just not a position that Baron York has. And I like to run at least 2 cav divisions, right? Ideally, I think the Baron, and tactically, I would be fine with 3 cav divisions, 1 on defense and 2 aggressive. But we'll see. We'll see how things kind of alter or change and evolve is a better word over the course of this campaign. Right now, we don't have very many cavalry. We've lost so many cavalry. Of course, they suffer heavy losses in most battles because they're getting mauled. Now, I have 2 different shock troop divisions, but I like it that we have a few brigands that are starting to throw in that 3rd division. Artorius Cassius or whatever. Apologies if I'm butchering the fellow's name. That's another Patreon supporter. It's kind of a Roman-looking dude with javelins. He's been leading the shock troop division, but they also have throwing weapons. So Comet Royal Commander Comet, Captain Comet, she's on the left here with the 8th division. She's going to protect that crossbow division. 4th and 5th we'll put down here in the valley, although we got to look at our captains for the 5th and 6th. We'll put whatever one has the best perk for sitting on that ridge. Like speed is useless. That 5th division commander actually makes more sense. Decreased take and ranged attack damage, because they're going to get shot. This kind of battle could be close, right? So we want to make sure that we optimize. Well, we're not going to spend an hour sitting here trying to tinker with everything, right? But, in critical battles in your campaign, you want to take that extra couple minutes. Now I'm going to do an unusual defense here because we have so few cavalry on the left flank. I'm going to do a circle with a square of shock troops. I know that's weird. Trust me, it'll work. The mainline infantry, of course, we're going to anchor probably against those rocks. There's a nice spot there. 2 crossbow divisions at the back. And then the aforementioned 6th, actually it's the 5th, 7th, and 8th on that hillside. So I know that's weird, but they're protected from cavalry charge, right? Guys are coming in. In fact, there's horse archers. They'll get a little protection from that. Those are shock troops, right? They don't have a shield, so a lot of them. So we give them a little protection with that ring. You can do a ring with 50 cavalry. It's not, it's super effective, but it's effective. 5th division up here. They're going to get charged. Here comes the enemy cavalry trying to charge them, of course. That's what Comet... We'll start calling her Captain Comet. Captain Comet and the 8th Division, their job is to repel that charge. Now, as this enemy cav comes in, we're going to break out of this circle. This circle is going to turn into a shield wall, and we're going to use it in a savage shield and shock approach through their archers. They've got archers coming through the center. We're definitely going to try to deal with those guys. Of course, the infantry we're going to surround and destroy with all these different shock troops. The 7th can eventually be unleashed. Yeah, they're coming right for the square, predictably, beautifully. Look at their crossbow coming up. Okay, we got to get over there now. I got to get that 2nd, 3rd division into them. And the reason this works so well, of course, is the shock troops don't have shields. And now they're going to be led forward by all this cavalry, right? So quickly into a shield wall. We're going to drag it right through the enemy ranks here. Look at all these juicy archers. They're going to be even juicier when our shock troops slam into them. So the cavalry is just basically told to shield wall and run that direction. That's basically providing a screen of safety there. So Comet and the 8th charge. These guys should be plowing a hole, and here they come. Look at the shock. The 3rd division just eating up that archer line. All you hear is the enemy getting killed and screaming, and the line is going, the death spam is going green as their archers just get trucked. Our cavalry leads the way there. Now let's stick them in the middle here in a square. That way those guys have a little bit of a distraction, and the shock troops can work. 7th, 8th, 5th. I think those guys are going to get scorched on that ridge, but I got to do something about all their archers. I got to have some kind of answer to it. They got a ton of archers in this battle. We do too, though. This is not Baron York's ideal army, but I'll be honest, this is a better army than a cavalry infantry army. Right? Your archers' crossbow are the key to winning in Bannerlord. That guy reminds me that I should be doing some fighting. Thanks for waking me up there, but we'll kill some of your mates for interrupting my train of thought. All right, let's start getting crossbow over here to counter their archers. Man, it's nasty, though. We're just charging up into a hail of darts. I think they might even have more archers than us, which is amazing because we started this battle with a lot. Look at all these fuckers. You little fuckers. They're starting to regroup. Okay, that's good. That's our moment here to move up. Time to get in more aggressive, although as soon as I said that, they just stopped. God, they got distancing. The AI is actually using its crossbow optimally. Like they're on the ridge, just raking our troops. Let's see. Oh, I don't have any cav to shove forward. The infantry's just going to have to push. We can get our archers down here in the valley. They'll be a little safer. God, they're charging through tons of cavalry. And this is what I was worried about. This is a nasty battle. Look at that death flush. It's not like we're fucking up here somehow. It's just a lot of good enemy troops. Heavy cavalry just smashing through our ranks. Let me get on foot here. We've got a line of infantry that's moving up. We've got crossbow here and shock troops. All the action is going to occur right here in this valley. And Baron York, and of course you guys know, I have an affinity for fighting on foot. On horse, when there's no other horsemen, you get shot off so easily here, so I think it might even be better for my survivability here. We'll see. See if I get smoked in the face right away. Get slashed. But I also like the feeling of it, right? Our men are desperately fighting for our independence here. They're fighting because they don't want to get beheaded by the Baron. That's what's really going on. But we're just pushing in hard on the enemy here. Getting fucking raked. God damn it. They have a ton of hardened crossbow and sharpshooters raking us. And this ridge here, we're going to move up right to the edge of it, kill whatever's here, and then back off. Because they're going to have a peekaboo ridge on the other side of this, right? We're not about to commit that cardinal sin. So let's get these guys moved up right to the edge of this ridge here and hold. And we'll see what the enemy does. If they pull back, we may rush. We want to try to get them with their pants down here if we can. God, look at that death spam. We are getting ripped in this battle. Now, we entered this battle with a lot of low-level troops, right? We're starting to feel the attrition of all these battles. And Baron York, you know, he doesn't have 330 medicine skill. Our troops are highly mortal in this campaign. They got archers over there still absolutely strafing us here. And we got ourselves a nail biter here to finish this episode. Or at least I think this will be the last battle. Well, I said I was going to last longer on foot. I didn't. All right, everybody just charge here. They're charging over our ridge. This is our fucking ridge here. I wish I had the Baron. Man, we need him. They're bringing up their peasants and mid-tier infantry. We're charging with everybody, crossbow. And how epic is this? Now, fortunately, we have the little glowing orbs over our heads because we're the exact same color as the enemy here. It's very hard to tell friend from foe. But at least we repulsed that attack. Got some good death spam there. And we need to keep these units together at this stage. We're very low on ammo. we're going to have to blunt out the rest of this force here. They are reforming, so we're going to get aggressive in here and try to kill what we can. I got to be careful, though, this ridge, right? I basically want to see what the AI is going to do. If they stop right there, we'll sit where we are. But if they peel over that ridge, I think we'll advance. They look like they're pulling back. There's a bigger valley here for us to sit in, this next ridge forward. I'm going to take advantage of this. Now, this gal has a crossbow. She's got a nice full health bar, 13 bolts here. This is a very tight battle. And I can see the power bar, but you guys can probably feel it, right? The enemy has made 2 or 3 major sallies against us. We don't have any cavalry. Our crossbow are mostly out of ammo. And I rarely do that, but I'm just going to tell you right now, the power bar favors the enemy here. You know what I can do every once in a while? I doubt I'll remember, but I can give you guys a glance, right? Basically light up the power bar. We're favored to lose. Now, we have strange troops riding in here again. They got white and shit like that, and of course, they're lackadaisically running up with cavalry and just getting executed. It's interesting, though, right? This reinforcement system, you never know what to expect, and I definitely didn't see who joined the battle here. No idea who these forces are, but they're coming in, and we'll take every single ounce of help we can get in this campaign, right? We're using all these handicaps. Are they charging? No. Okay. We've got all these handicaps here, and we're just doing the best we can. They got cavalry moving on our right flank here. We just got to get our troops basically established, oh shit, at the base of the ridge here. Oh, they're making a cavalry charge. Let's see, got to get infantry. Let's split the crossbow division and get a division of shields up here towards the front. A lot of our guys have no shields. They're just sort of skirmishing, I think, with cavalry. This guy's trying to poke me. I'm ducking with my shield on my back and he's poking me. Well, we want their cavalry to charge, right? Our troops are compacted now. Please charge. Okay, get back. Get back. You don't want your archers going all the way over the ridge. We just don't have a lot of weapons now. We basically just got to band together here as a ragged bunch of units. We do have a bunch of sharpshooters. I see a lot of barn doors in that front division there. That's going to help. But we're really reduced to a melee division with a handful of... I shot that guy off his horse, and there's a sergeant over there poking him on the ground. How can you not love Bannerlord? Man, I know you guys all love it, but that's just amazing. I shot that guy off his horse with the crossbow. Oh, we got to move here. We're getting strafed. Everybody move over to the left. But I shot that guy off his horse, and then a sergeant took the opportunity to start stabbing the guy on the ground. It's just fucking fantastic. It's not always great, right? The game has all kinds of bugs and problems. But man, are there a lot of great moments like that. I mean, that's just an inconsequential moment, but it's fucking amazing. So is this battle, right? The enemy's charging in with cavalry. Thank goodness their archers are mostly on the other side of that ridge, or we'd be fucked. That said, I think the enemy's fucked too. I swear that's an Aserai horse. You know, a yellow shield. So the reinforcement system's doing its thing. And especially in close battles like this, you'll get anybody who will join because they're opportunivores. They're like, hey, I can get some... whatever the NPCs out there want. They're basically trying to help. This guy's pushing me across the battlefield. Got to get some ammo here, but we're going to sit in this valley. Never mind. The enemy just fled. So evidently they had weak troops here at the end, even though the power bar legitimately favors the enemy here. I think our positioning and the quality of troops we had left at the end of this battle forced them to rout. Oh no, dude. Artorius. I don't know if he said his name correctly once, but, you know, there he goes. Death is a real thing, fellas. None of us are making it out of this alive. That's a little morbid saying I've got. We lose a companion again. This is going to be a thing, right? I don't know. You guys sure you want a companion in our campaign? We're going to keep the death for all mod right where it's at. Sometimes we have 10 battles with no deaths, and then, you know, you get 3 deaths and 3 battles. So... hold on to your hats here, folks. Hold on to your whatever you do, your beer or whatever, when you're watching. It's going to be a gnarly campaign. I need a break. I need a shower and stretch a little bit after this exhausting episode. This is exhilarating, but it's stressful in a good way, gameplay. Like, each battle is grueling. as a commander, it's pushing me to my limits. And of course, I'm trying to narrate without sounding like a gibberish idiot. Just, it'd be very easy just to have a diarrhea moment every single one of these episodes. Sometimes I say ignorant shit. Fortunately, I don't ever say racist or hateful shit, except to these fucking Vlandians. All right. We're going to wrap this episode up. Of course, if you want to see more from this series, you definitely want to subscribe, right? If you want to see more from this campaign, I promise you it's going to be gnarly. I don't know how this is going to end, to be perfectly honest. I've got a story written, but there's no ending. I don't have an ending written to this story, and that's partly because there are things that are outside of my control as a commander, right? We can only do so much. So we got to get into town here. Oh, shit. These are all the remnants of that battle and reinforcements. I'm going to run here. We're going to get ran down and captured like a bitch at the end of this episode. So let's see if we can do any upgrades here. I spoke too soon. The episode's not over. Run. You know what? They're coming after this Laria here. So what the Baron's going to do, this is right up the Baron's character here. Just like Aserai, right? This is why the Baron has no friends. This Laria gal, I think she helped us in that battle. And what does the Baron do as soon as he's in danger? He tucks tail and run. Not because he's not brave, but because he's shrewd. He's ruthlessly shrewd. Right now here, they're attacking our villagers, and I have another opportunity for going out of the city here. Another reason. We'll just dump these nobles off here. Potentially, we can get a bunch of prisoners. We need troops badly, so I'm going to take the full garrison here and take a chance. Now, I think we'll be able to retreat if it looks bad. Like if we engage and we're outnumbered 2-1, I can't actually see what kind of troops are there, but I think they're attacking our villagers here, right? So now the Baron is going to pretend he's the hero and try to save these poor villagers. We want them to survive. That way they can work 16-hour days in the field and get taxed for all of their money. Let's see here. We're going to fight this. You can see the power bar actually favors us. We should be able to wrap this up, and then we'll finish this episode. I'll put my little spiel on hold here. We'll blaze through this because, I guess there could be reinforcements, but barring some kind of surprising reinforcement or something like that, this should be a battle we can sweep through the enemy pretty easily here and smash them aside. Very simple tactics. We're just going to spread our archers out here with the square. We'll do a little diversionary cavalry run through their units. And we should be able to wrap this episode up. We're going to have to do some major sort of regrouping. Look at our infantry line. That's almost all peasants and recruits. So don't go away, right? If you thought the Baron was just going to roll right through Calradia, right? We are facing juggernaut foes. We're facing non-stop foes. We got the reinforcement system ripping. We've got the enemy's got the strengthened AI mod, so they get troops much faster than us. There's just so many areas of carnage with this. We only have 2 cities, right? We have 2 castles and 2 cities. The Aserai just declared war on us, right? What else can I say here? I'm going to start playing left-handed and drunk just to make it more interesting. It might as well, right? It's difficult to challenge, but that's what you guys are here for, right? There's 1,000 different YouTube channels out there doing Bannerlord. They don't have as much history. They don't have as much colorful profanity and explicatives as us. And I think they don't have this kind of gameplay where every single episode there's carnage battles, just epic scale, just absolutely nail-biting battles where you're down to the last 50 troops. And I think this campaign is going to be well worth your time. Not that I need to sell, make a sales pitch here. You guys are already watching. If you're watching episode whatever this is going to be, 40, you're probably loving it just like me. It's more fun to play. But I imagine it's pretty fun to watch, right? Because it probably feels like a dramatic movie every other episode. And of course, we'll continue to do our best to make it as interesting as we can. So we're charging with peasants here, but they're coming in right behind the enemy while they're shot in front. The enemy's kind of fucked here. They're really fucked now because they just turned their backs on our archers. And the screen flushes with green here as we round out this episode. That guy cut down a noble. Some peasant got up there and just cut down a noble. Beautiful. And I forgot. There's one other part of this episode that we're missing. I'm sure some of you guys have been hungry for it. What's the shit? Why is there a donkey? There's a caravan here? There's a bunch of fruit? Somebody get those look like good apples. Somebody get that shit. I don't know what that's doing here. We're getting all kinds of crazy effects in this campaign. But you know what time it is, fellas. It is war prime o'clock, right? The Baron, because the land doesn't hate him enough, right? It's time to dismember some serfs. In reality, though, when you look at the full picture of what the medieval serf was dealing with, I think being dismembered and dying on the battlefield, maybe of gangrene a week later, is mercy compared to 40 years of no dentistry, they had like anal fissures and all kinds of horrific shit, dropsy, then they would get smallpox and their face would fall off and a bunch of other horrific shit. So the Baron is going to justify this and say, oh shit, whoa, those guys came up like assassins trying to take the Baron out here. Okay, I think that was a little momentary bit of excitement, kind of like the fire service. But the Baron, is basically doing a little mercy killing here, even though no organism wants to be cut down and just killed on a beautiful sunny evening. All right, this is a spicy episode full of chaos, executions, carnage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that cutscene. Leave me feedback on the cutscene. That took, an hour to make, trimming a bunch of different files together. I love making shit like that. But I would love to hear from you fellas, ladies and fellas. If you don't like that stuff, or more accurately, if it doesn't mean much to you, leave that feedback in there, right? Because I do spend time on that, and I could be making other content for you fellas if I wasn't doing that. So please leave feedback on that. Please leave feedback on this entire campaign. Try to spread the word, right? Get your long-lost cousin who's never played a video game to watch this and see if it inspires him to play. Now, what do we got going on here? It just never ends. There's a whole bunch of little forces here that are scurrying away. And frankly, you could use that verb here for the Baron. We're going to scurry into our city here and recover, right? Well, holy shit, we need a break. The land is in chaos out there. There's bandits attacking. There's all kinds of enemies. And we've got a beautifully chaotic campaign here. It's better than I could have hoped for. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying it, because I certainly am enjoying playing it. I appreciate your support. We're still trying to see if this is a hobby job for me in retirement. I'm retiring in a year, friends. Less than a year. So, let me know your feedback on this campaign. Please leave any comments, criticism, all that kind of stuff. Come to our Patreon if you want to support us and or have a special character in this campaign. And with all that said, of course, hit that like button. I'm supposed to say that too. With all that said, friends, I will see you next time.